What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Kubrick Corner with me, Sean Wilson. So something's been on my mind lately as a movie journalist and indeed as a general avid consumer of films, which is the impact of watching a movie in advance. Now, I bring this up because my most recent video was of Christopher Nolan's World War II movie Dunkirk, which is now on general release, and I'm seeing on Twitter and hearing from various people I know that they've gone to see it some days after I got to see it in my capacity as a journalist. I went to the Monday, the 17th of July preview multimedia screening at the IMAX Waterloo in London. Best possible presentation of that movie. Apparently, it's the biggest screen in Europe. You couldn't get an image better resolved. You couldn't get sound design better amplified, and it's a real first thing to say is it's a real treat for me to have seen that movie in that presentation in advance. one of the perks of the job. But the actual act of seeing a movie in advance, what is that? Because that's the first thing I always get asked when I'm a journalist. Do you get to see movies in advance? And the answer is yes, I do, although it is a bit tricky because I live in Bristol, which is some distance away from London, and all the national press showings take place in London. But I thought I'd make an exception with Dunkirk because it's one of the biggest and most prestigious movies of the year. You can see my review here on the Kubrick Corner channel. But seeing a movie in advance, is it all it's cracked up to be? Well, it's an interesting thing that I think that sometimes seeing a movie in advance can have a detrimental impact on your outlook towards the movie, because I think that sometimes seeing a movie in advance of its release, even if it is only a few days in advance, as with me with Dunkirk, I think that can somehow cloud the experience of what you think of the movie. I'll give you an example. I went to the London Film Festival last year and I saw La La Land, the Ryan Gosling Emma Stone musical, which of course famously swept the Oscars before not winning Best Picture to Moonlight. And you've got to appreciate that La La Land gathered an enormous storm of hype, probably from about November, December, January onwards in the run up to the Oscars. But I saw it back in October of 2016 when hype was just about starting to build for it, and consequently not as many people knew about the movie as they did a few months later when it was released to the general audience. So that is quite a treat to be able to see a movie in advance of its general release, so that you can build up an appreciation for it without your viewpoint necessarily being coloured or clouded by other people. But on the other hand, what you've got to ask yourself there is, what am I reviewing the movie there, or am I letting my excitement over seeing the movie in advance somehow get the better of me? Because you've got to bear in mind, I saw that movie at a preview in October. The movie wasn't out in the UK until January, and that's 3 months during which time my knowledge of the movie, my appreciation of the movie, threatens to become quite foggy and quite clouded. So which opinion matters the most? Is it that my opinion when I first saw it? Is it the opinion when it goes out on general release? And my argument would be, to be perfectly honest, I think your opinion of a movie when it goes out on general release matters all the more. And I think it is important for movie journalists to see a movie more than once, because as I said, you can forget things, you can forget your initial impact of things, and it's important. It was important for me with La La Land to divorce myself from the experience of having seen it at the LFF and the experience of seeing it in a standard cinema with everybody else. I think that's very, very important. It's important to maintain that honesty. Similarly with Dunkirk, I saw Dunkirk at a special IMAX preview, which I didn't have to pay. I got into the IMAX for free. So subsequently, of course, I'm going to come out of that experience feeling very, very positive. I mean, my opinion of the movie might have changed, but at the end of the day, that is a very, very thrilling experience to be handed that in my job. So my question is this: is what matters the most? How I'm talking specifically to movie journalists out there. Do you think that seeing a movie in advance can somehow negatively impact your viewpoint of a film? And do you think that it's important to catch up with it later on? So let me know. Hit me up on Kubrick Corner and on Twitter at Shawnee22, and I'll speak to you soon.